What's up, guys? We are here with Curtis at Monarch Mountain Taxidermy. He just finished mounting my late season bull elk from last season. And in this video, you're going to get to see behind the season and behind the taxidermist with Curtis and go over everything start to finish. So the big things I think we went over were shampooing the hide, right?
Yeah.
Washing.
Eye detail, we did ear detail, shampooing the hide, a little bit about caping, putting it together. Got some good stuff today, so we're excited for you to see it.
Yep, let's have fun, guys. This is going to be a good one, so sit back and enjoy it. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another behind the season episode. We've got a fun one for you today, one I think you're really going to enjoy, and you're probably going to walk away with a bunch of new information and tips on taxidermy. So we just pulled up to Monarch Mountain Taxidermy, and Curtis, the master taxidermist here, is actually working on my bull elk. The one that was on the video a couple weeks ago. It's a late season bull elk hunt. Shot that bull on the last day, and today it's finally getting mounted. So we're gonna walk inside here, hang out with Curtis, and show you guys behind the season. So conveniently for me, and even Matty Ice, because he's worked with these guys forever. Remember at R&K, they'd always be making runs here.
Oh yeah, Curtis and I go way back.
So he's located in South Jordan. It's not too far at all from where I grew up. Here's his information and phone number if you guys need it. But he's in South Jordan. He's got this big shop. So it's always been so nice for me to live here locally. So when I needed to freeze a cape, but again, it's just made it super convenient for me. So let's go. Well, guys, let me introduce you to Curtis. So you may have seen him in some of our videos, but this is Curtis. We've been friends forever.
Hey guys.
And he's done so much work for me and all the guys at Hush, and obviously Matt and his clients up at R&K over the years. Love his work. The best stuff we have in our shops are all from Curtis's shop. So I'm excited to get this mounted. And
we're grateful for Hush and all they do for everybody, honestly. Like, I have a 19-year-old son and a 13-year-old son, and the reason I love Hush is because my kids want to hunt because of Hush. I mean, old man takes them out, it's not as cool, but when they see what you guys do and how you do it, and they say, man, I could do that. And so for the younger generation of hunters, I think you guys have been great. It's awesome.
Cool,
So,
man.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, called your eye to nose. So we take ours from the middle of the eyes to the front of the nose. We call it a block, and then we call it depth. So I take these measurements to make sure when we mount it, your head looks exactly like what you brought in. That makes sense. Now what you're gonna notice, this is a late season bull. So the first thing you should notice is, wow, look at that mane on that thing. Super
This is
long.
good, huh?
It's awesome. Okay, because we don't get a lot of long manes with hunting elk in Utah in September.
Yeah, look at that.
Second thing you're going to notice is what we call molting. So late season bulls get long blonde hair, but they have what's called molting. So you see these little dark spots. So underneath, you'll notice their hair gets to be like a cottonish. And that's preparing for winter to keep them really warm. So they get a really short cottonish under hair, and the over hair, this longer stuff protects it. What was really cool about Eric's bull, and he probably didn't even notice it when he killed it, he was so excited, is he had a huge tick bed in his chest.
Oh, really?
So we fixed it, but this right here, you can see, you can actually feel that, Eric.
Yeah.
Where the tick's bedded in there.
Yep. Man, they really tore that.
This used to look like a basketball. It was huge.
Size?
Where the ticks, yeah. So if we flip this over, Kelly, who prepped it, you can see where he's cut out.
So he must have taken out like a bigger patch.
Yeah, so it's a football.
Together.
It's usually a football shape,
Yeah.
Eric. So basically, if I was cutting right here, it would look like this.
So this is a wet tan.
Yep, this is a wet tan.
I mean, if you feel this, guys, I mean, it's like clay almost, but that's his skin. I mean, and so this is always something I think is interesting that I think a lot of people may not know is, and I want Curtis to explain it, but where does the word taxidermy come from?
Taxidermy, good question. Is basically, think of a taxi, it's a car, right, that moves around. Well, taxidermy basically means movement of skin. Dermy being, related to epidermis and skin. So yeah, basically movement.
Fun facts, guys.
Skin.
Fun facts. If you guys knew that, if you guys didn't know that, put it in the comments. Let us know if you knew it or not. But taxi is to move, dermy is skin, like to move skin. Taxidermy. Language.
Yeah.
Crazy.
What I do here today is not necessarily the right way to do it. I think it might be the right way. But
Yeah, I'm sure
to
everyone's got their
it
own
could
tips and their own little tricks.
be. Yeah,
Ways
it's like
to
skinning
do
an
it.
animal type thing. Someone could totally skin it totally different. So, but Eric did a good job skinning this. If you look at the seam lines, if I could point out to all you hunters out there, if you look at this line that Eric cut when he caped it, it's perfect. Okay. I cannot emphasize enough a good, sharp knife and a straight line.
So I always do, I know some people do like the tube, right? But I always take it right up the seam of the shoulder on the inside, and then I do that sharp line out to like the midsection.
Perfect.
Does that seem to work out pretty good? Or
You can tube them. You can do what Eric does. Either way is fine. Personally, I don't like this tubed unless I've got a leg mount to slide it up on, because I like to adjust the skin. Gives me more freedom of movement. So what Eric means is when he caped this deer, this is the leg. He came up the back of the leg and then towards the middle of the body.
right to the
When he
armpit,
cut it. Yep.
and then you take a pretty sharp turn, you know?
Yeah, so the main thing you want to stay, see these curly cues right here? So if you come up a leg, you do not want to go towards the inside of the brisket. So you come up the leg, make sure you stay towards the outside or the middle. The more you drift in, the more problems you're going to have. So stay right up here. And let's say I get to my knife, gets about right here, just go straight back to where the middle of the body is. The major number of problems we see is from knives coming in this area here. So stay
Yeah,
away
I try
from
to
that.
doctor him. Like Kelly will be over there sewing them all up.
Yeah, Kelly says a few swear words when he has to do that, but he does a great job. So, yeah, Eric did a really good job.
Cool.
So we don't have to mess with the seam at all. It's perfect. So, okay, let's take you through this process and have some fun today. So we're getting ready to give Eric a bowl of shampoo here. I like to use hot water. I just like the heat creates more stretch in my skins. And I like to have stretch when I'm mounting, so I like to use that too. So I'm going to fill this tub up, probably 10 or 15 gallons full of water. I'm going to take some salt. Salt is very important. The reason why is if I don't add salt to my water, when I put this hide back in water, it causes swelling. So the hide will absorb water and create my skin to go like this. Shave so nice and thin, I want to keep it thin, and salt is what prevents that skin from swelling. So add a bunch of salt. I'm gonna let this thing fill up. We'll let that fill up, and then we're gonna add some shampoo. Choice for today is Dove 2-in-1. There's two types of shampoo we like to use here. One is Perk Plus. The other one is Dove 2-in-1 shampoo conditioner. Scientific reason behind it: the pH of these shampoos. This is the acid level. When I wash this, I want to maintain a average pH. And you put it in your water. And Maddie, you can tell me if my shampoo is floating or not. Is it?
It is.
It is. So if my shampoo starts to sink, I do not have enough salt. It's about 1 cup of salt per gallon of water. I don't measure it, but that's how I know I've got enough salt. Throw some dish soap in there. Mix that up really well. And we'll just get the head in there first. Make sure I've got everything soaked really well. You can shampoo them after they're mounted. You can shampoo them before. Like I said, this is the way we like to do it. for about 10 minutes, and then we'll come pull them out, hang them on this rack, and rinse them off, and let them dry for about an hour as we're getting them out ready.
Okay, guys, one of the big steps in taxidermy is kind of just picking, you know, like we said, picking your form, all that stuff, but picking how you're going to lay the ears out. So normally I've never had much input, and I always trust Curtis to do whatever he thinks is best, but he's asked me. And this is what's cool about bringing you guys in here is I'm actually being able to be included in the process more than I would have, you know, if I just dropped it off and picked it up. So he asked me about the ears, and my default is, well, how did he look when I shot him? Because that's kind of the goal I was going for in the first place. And right when the bull stood broadside, I shot him. You can see he's got, and Curtis will explain this, so he's got like his forward ear and a listening ear, right?
Yeah.
So explain that. Like one is straight forward, but one is kind of like 45 degrees back.
So if you watch an animal, as you're watching and hunting them, their ears are, other than their eyes, are their main protection, right? So this bull, as he feeds and moves, his ears are always going to be moving, trying to sense danger every direction. Okay, typically when an animal is looking towards you or suspects something may be there, and he's not on high alert, he's going to go listen with this ear on the inside, and the back ear will kind of turn back, listening behind him. Okay, and that's exactly what Eric's bull was doing right as he tried to figure out what's going on. Now, if an animal like a deer is on high alert, it's going to be full peg, full forward. Okay, relaxed an animal eating or putting its head down feeding, you'll notice their ears are always back, listening behind them. Okay, laying down, they'll do the same thing. They like to listen forward and back. So for Eric's bull, which is perfect, because I was talking about, hey, this bull, you know, naturally would probably be doing this.
Yep.
And we looked at the video, and that's exactly what he was doing. So we are going to set Eric's ears like this today. So this ear will be listening forward. This one's going to be curving back. All right, so now you'll notice I've got movable plastic. So I'm going to take this ear, rotate it back like that, push that edge in, so that ear will be listening behind him. So I got to go to the cold water now, because that is hot. Turn on some cold water and shape this ear. Let the water run on it to kind of set the plastic back. So these are the little details that really make a mount stand out. Just kind of pull it out, hang it up, and that gives you an idea how big those elk are right there.
Dude, there's a couple elk that stand out to me that I've packed out their head, antlers, and cape that were bigger and heavier than most, and it was my Idaho bull and this bull.
And they're gonna smell good, and we're gonna give this thing a blow dry in a little bit too. That helps our glue stick. Anywhere there's a lot of detail, you'll notice I've scuffed up where I really want this to suck in. The main parts like this, I don't need it to really suck down tight, so I just put an adhesive here, and the skin will just dry to that nicely. But anywhere I want a lot of detail, I make sure that I got it scuffed really well. So that's what I'm doing right now, and then I'll grab those ears in a minute. We'll start setting those. Just creating a little key notch for our ears to go into.
You're good.
Well, my son, he was kind of worked for me a couple times. I don't like this. I'm going to do this stuff, and I don't like it. So I went and worked in the oil fields for about 3 or 4 years.
I got this idea. We could try it or not. It's up to you guys. But yeah, just for you guys then.
Figure out like.
Oh, he called and paid me instantly, the whole thing. I'm like, dude, I don't need the whole thing. I just need a deposit. He's like, oh no.
Oh, yeah.
And somehow that text got lost.
Yeah. I asked him.
I figured we just
take him one quick phone call or anything.
I
Even
figured.
a reminder text like, hey.
Okay, so front corner of the nose, back corner of the eye, front edge of the ear where the notch comes in, always line up on a deer and elk. So if you look at a mount, those three things should line up and be level. So if you look at a mount, if the ears are too high or too low on the head, that's just one of my pet peeves. So those things should always line up. So when I'm setting these ears, I'm looking at this right here, front corner, back corner, edge. So this right here is different on every animal, but typically it's generally the same, 3.5, 3 3/4, 3 1/4. This measurement will always match this muscle on the head to exact. It's funny how it works. So if a deer ear has a 3 and a 3-inch ear, this muscle is 3 inches. If this elk's 3 and or whatever, so we can check my work right now. So if we start looking at this, I'm almost 3.5. Okay, and I start coming to the front of where my ear comes. If I were to draw a straight line right there, I'm 3.5. 3.5, 3.5.
First time.
So we just picked out the eyeballs and he's going to set those in. I guess they come in different models.
Different sizes, different colors, white in the eye, no white. Eric's chosen a nice darker colored elk eye with no white in it. I'm a big fan of the no white in the eyes either, unless it's really bugling and rotating from the eye. But I just like a nice solid dark eye on my mounts also. So me and Eric are
on the same page here.
Same page there, yep. Mount present, the way it presents on the mount is killer. With those antlers, the way they come up.
You got to be a patient, artistic type of person to do taxidermy, man.
Yeah, you got to be a patient to kill bulls like this too. And what was this, last day, last hour?
Last
Let's go give it
day,
one
yep.
chance.
Shouldn't have been there. We were supposed to go home the day before. Decided to give it one more try. They weren't where I wanted them to be. Told Logan we need to go in even a little further, and that's when it all came together. Which, by the way, guys, this video is up on our YouTube channel. I think it went live a couple Sundays ago. We shared 3 hunt films in August this year that were all elk. So Brian's archery bull, Casey's late season bull, and then my late season bull. They're all up on the channel, and if you missed those, you definitely need to go back and check them out.
I can't wait to watch the video of Matt's 4 archery misses either. That's going to be a good one.
I wonder if he's even going to include the misses, you know?
All right, so taxidermy tip here. This is my pupil. This is why I got a headlamp on. A pupil, most of the time on an animal, will stay level. Even when it goes down to drink, its pupils will be level. Very rarely does it adjust its pupil down when it's looking around. So when we're doing a mount, for this mount, since the head's down a little bit, I'm not going to go exactly level. I'm going to tip probably to about right here. And the reason being is, so when Eric looks at this mount, which is about the height it's going to be, it looks like the mount is looking at you, if that makes sense. So his pupils should be focused right at whoever's looking at the mount. All right, setting the eye here. I want to make sure the pupil is not in the center, but just above the center of my eye, my eyelid. So that's what I'm doing here. So a lot of taxidermy is if I divide this head into half here, I want to make sure each side matches as far as anatomy goes.
Is this clay edible?
What's that?
Is this clay healthy to eat because you keep
It's
licking it off your fingers?
It keeps me from getting sick, that's for sure.
It keeps you from getting sick?
Yeah, my immune system, because I've ate so much crap in here, it's pretty strong.
There's a lot of chemicals involved in taxidermy. Chemicals, sprays, glues,
Yeah, there's a lot of...
epoxy. Is this healthy? Yeah, is this healthy for you guys?
Yeah.
What's a life expectancy of a taxidermist?
Well, we're going to find out. So now, just because I've done this hundreds and hundreds of times, I'm just doing the shape of an eye. Just making sure I get the shape I want for where it's looking. Now, if I had a full alert, I'm going to make this eye a little more docile and not fully alert. So if I had alert ears, I'm going to open this eye. If I had two relaxed ears and I got an animal that's really docile, this eye is going to look relaxed. I'm shooting for the middle with Eric's, like it's just noticed you, but it's still not on full alert.
Adding the eyes and then the work you're doing around them just like really just made it look like so much more alive, I guess.
Yeah, it's starting to come alive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what I've done is I've stretched this all out. See how I've stretched it?
You've already got the ears in there.
Got the ears in there. Here's our little key that we made on the side, so it'll slide right back into where it goes. Okay, so if you can kind of just hold it up for a second while I get this head on.
That's so wild. This is the part
Yeah,
of the video, guys, where this thing is really going to come to life once we get some skin on it.
Okay, go ahead and go back now.
Is that all right?
Let me find our brisket, Eric, which is coming this way. There we go. Yep, and then just kind of let that roll back.
I can touch the glue now?
Yeah, just like that.
It smells good.
Yeah, not too bad. So I'm going to adjust the brisket here now and pin this down before we flip them around. So I'm just basically putting those little curly cues right where they need to go. This is a hard turn mount, so these are, like if you're a beginning taxidermist, you want to stick with something more straight. These things are a pain in the butt to get the skin right, so you just got to take your time. You're on that.
Here we go. What do we got?
Make him somewhat level and get him to tighten for a minute. Pull that pin out. So if you'll notice, that goes right back in the place where it's supposed to go. Once it's there,
Pin that.
pin there. Yep, and that skin is there on that side, and then we'll do the other side.
So that clay, like when you cut, is that clay dry, or did you cut through that just with an X-Acto knife? Or
I just cut with a tool. It's like a straight blade tool, almost like a butter knife to cut through it.
so pretty easy then, right?
Pretty easy, yeah.
Wasn't dry.
I've done enough. I can keep the shape of these, but a lot of guys, after they cut it off, will freeze their ear and freeze that clay so they don't damage the shape of it. A lot of guys will do their clay shape inside once they have the ear. I like to sculpt everything and see it, cut it off, and put it back on. It's just just the way we like to do it. So that goes right back in, right where it's supposed to go. Put a pin in there.
Now you can really see that flare that Curtis made by heating it up and using the heat to kind of flare that ear out. You can really see it now that the height is on it.
It's changed the world of taxidermy. I used to have pins everywhere and cardboard everywhere to hold glue down. Now this glue pretty much just locks everything down into place as it dries. And now what I'm going to do, the next part I'm going to do is my nose. So I'm going to take this nose pad, start tucking it in with my fingers. And you see how that comes down? That's what I'm talking about. That's the nice look we want. We don't want this nose to come down and start going back out. So if that does happen, we know this measurement is too big. I'm just going to start working around the side here. In the center of this front lip, find my center point, which is about right there. Start tucking this in. So you can see how those hairs turn around the corner of the mouth. That's what we're looking for right there. So all these hairs will come and roll forward on an animal. So first thing I'm doing is, this is the eyebrow I was telling you about. I'm making sure my eyebrow is in the right place before I tuck my eye. So I don't want my skin like this, and I don't want my skin like this. So I'm getting my eyebrow, I can feel my clay underneath there for my eyelashes, and that's telling me right there is where I need to be. So I'm going to start tucking now. Trying not to damage any of the clay work I spent all that time doing. Looking at my pupil, making sure my pupil's still just above the middle of my eye. Then I'm going to start tucking in my tear duct. I need to put a little glue on that first. So all I'm looking at as I tuck is my hair patterns. So in the front of the eye, there's hair that curls down, there's hair that curls up, and then there's my eyelashes. So the hair is always right here at the start of the duct where it rolls down and hair rolls up. So right where my fingers is, you can see where that hair pattern is. So it rolls up and rolls down. Now I'm going to grab a little brush and just clean that eye off. So that's why we use brushes. So now I'm just taking a brush to fill my clay work underneath and put the skin. I'm actually moving the skin with my brush. Make sure the skin is sitting nicely on that clay work.
It'll be fine by dusk, but I'm telling you, baby. These things eat at your bones and drive your young mind crazy. But when you place your head between my collar and jaw,
I mean, Thanksgiving.
I don't know much, but there's no weight at all. And I'm damned if I do, and I'm damned if I don't. 'Cause if I say I miss you, I know that you won't. But I miss you in the mornings when I see the sun. Something in the orange tells me we're not done.
All right, guys, hope you're enjoying today's video. Real quick, want to just let you know we are just now dropping our brand new summer performance hats. We have a ton of new styles in bent brim, flat brim, rope hats. These are some of the coolest hats we've ever designed, and they are available now at
www.gethushin.com. And don't forget, we've got a free mobile app where you can shop as well. New hats, quality material, comfortable, breathable, everything you want in a hat. Go check them out.
All right, guys, Matt and I went to grab a bite to eat, and Curtis stayed back. Him and his boy just started doing a lot of the actual detail work. His boy stitched it up like you saw, and while we were gone, Curtis just started manipulating the skin, right? The taxidermy, trimming off some of the back. And we grabbed this pedestal. This pedestal was built by my buddy Mitch Giles of Wildlife Pedestals Studio?
Wildlife pedestals, yep.
Yeah. He's made, I've got 5 of these now that he's made because this one's going in the shop and I have all the same pedestals. But we just put the antlers in. Again, they were pegged. And this is the first look at what is an almost finished elk. And it looks so dang good.
Amazing.
Yeah, so
amazing. Look at the mane on this thing.
This is, yeah, we finally got to comb out the mane and see just how pretty it was. I went back and looked at the video because I was like, I didn't really notice that. But there's a piece of the video where he turns and you can just see that big black neck and dark mane. But he is so tall. This is a 9.5 foot ceiling?
9'6" ceiling. Yep.
9'6", and he's pushing like 9 feet in height.
He's at 9 foot there.
And he's going to tower over some of the other bulls I've got in the shop in height. But man, he turned out looking so good.
Pretty much close. So we call it day 2 stuff, day 3 stuff, and then we call it basically 1 week or 2 week stuff. So day 2 stuff, we're going to go in and make sure these antler burrs are sticking where they need to be, re-glue them, readjust them. We do the lower lid on the eyes, readjust the eyes, do the tear ducts, check all of our lip slots, check our gluing in our nose, check our detail, make sure everything's drying nicely, make sure there's no air pockets. And then about 2 weeks from now, we'll go in and we do some epoxy work and airbrush, and then it's ready for home. So still got about, if you guessed hour-wise, I still got probably 2-3 more hours on it.
Really? So now that he's somewhat where you want him, is that when all the pins go in him so they dry? So I'm looking around at some of the other bucks in here, and they have lots of pins.
So
is that what that is?
Depending on the animal and a few things, I'll put some pins. Like tomorrow when I come, I'll check for an air spot. So what happens tonight is this hide dries, I may get an air spot. A typical spot for an air spot would be right here. So as I push air tomorrow, like underneath my finger, I can feel a little air right now. I will just tomorrow grab a pin and just put that. That reminds me of where the air pocket is, number 1, and number 2, to double check it to make sure it's gluing down. So those are basically a reminder for me to double check where I've checked where the air spots were. Yep.
Dang, Curtis, that was pretty fast. Putting them together.
Yeah.
This morning we started with a form.
Yeah.
Wet hide, we shampooed it. He did the ears, the eyes.
Taxidermy.
All the taxidermy right now.
We started at about 9.
Yeah, we started at 9 a.m. and it's 2:47.
So, yeah, 5 or 6 hours. I tell people all the time, don't think it's this easy, because what I did today is the easy part of it. The fleshing and turning, the tanning, the prep work, and everything to get this ready is 3/4 of the work. The mounting is honestly the quickest and the funnest part, but there's a lot more to it than what you saw today.
Well, shoot, man. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, buddy. Give me a hug. Come on. Give me a hug.
If you guys need Curtis, his whole crew's here all the time. We showed you the phone number at the beginning, but we'll put the phone number right here. Taxidermy right here in South Jordan, Utah.
Now, we appreciate you guys a lot and what you do for the outdoors, honestly. Like, there's so much that these guys do behind the scene that nobody knows about. That's awesome. And I got nothing but great things to say about these guys. And they've been good customers and they're good people. So we love you guys. And good luck to everybody hunting out there this year.
Good luck, everybody.
To you, I'm just a man. To me, you're all I am. Where the hell am I supposed to go? I'll poison myself again. Something in the orange tells me you're never coming home. If you leave today, I'll just stare.